Welcome to Saying Yes Again,
a podcast about second chances, real love, and opening your heart after heartbreak.
We're your hosts, Dr. Lisa
and Tony,
a midlife couple who found love after divorce. And now we're here to share our story.
And to remind you that it's never too late to say yes again.
So put on your headphones and listen closely, because your next yes could be the one that changes everything. Welcome back to the Saying Yes Again podcast. I'm Dr. Lisa.
And I'm Tony. And this is the place where we talk about love, relationships, and what it really looks like to find connection again in midlife.
Yes, especially after divorce, after heartbreak, after reinvention, and sometimes a little loss along the way.
Exactly. Today, we're talking about something that doesn't get discussed enough. And honestly, a lot of men are thinking about it, but not saying it.
Yes. So today's episode is called The Silent Crisis.
Silent crisis.
Why some good men are tired of dating. Wow. So we hear a lot about that on the woman's side, but this is a very interesting one.
Yes.
Because some men are tired of dating as well.
Exactly. Because when we talk to women at our mixers and our events, we often hear the question.
Yes. Where are all the good men?
Where are the men? Exactly.
Where they at?
Exactly. But what many people don't realize is that a lot of good men are out there. We do exist, right? They're just exhausted with the whole dating scene.
Yeah. I can attest to that. So today we're flipping the script though, and we're having an honest conversation about what men experience in dating after 40 or 50.
Yes, this should be great.
Yes. So, I've been doing some research, and some quotes or some things that I've seen come up in these, these groups where people go in and talk about their dating experience.
Yeah.
Some people say, like, I'm in my 40s, I'm divorced, I'm 2 years out, and I haven't met anyone that I would even consider.
Wow.
Despite working on myself. So we need to figure out what's really behind that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Tony, when men say that, or men, kind of in our age group say that, what do you hear about dating? What are they actually saying about dating?
Honestly, a lot of men want companionship, but they're cautious. And many have been through divorce, financial losses, or painful breakups. So they're just like you ladies, but we always hear the ladies' side of things. But the men go through the same thing. They're still, emotionally distraught, etc.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess they're just not really talking about it.
No.
Yeah.
In this society, it's not real. It's not the best thing to do, talk about your emotions when you're a man.
Yeah.
But I dug in recently. I really did. I dug in recently and spoke to a couple gentlemen, even about the mixer. They were apprehensive. Some felt like they didn't have all their ducks in a row. And I tried to tell them, as long as you are workable and you are taking care of your business, you don't have to have everything like just in perfect order.
Right. Because no one's perfect.
No one's perfect.
No one's perfect. Yeah. So I think that's really interesting, because I think I was sharing that with some of the ladies as well.
Were you?
That we have, as women, when we go through heartbreak, when we go through loss, we typically lean on our girlfriends, right? We have a sister circle or a friend circle or some sort of community support group, right? That we can lay down
Good
everything.
Good thought.
Yeah. And I don't think that exists a lot of times in the man community, community of men.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
I didn't have that when I was going through my divorce at all.
Yeah, so I think that's something that we really have to start thinking about, and, encouraging our men to talk to each other about it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That'd be a wonderful dialogue.
Absolutely. So I know a lot of men, say that they've spent decades building something and then had to start over.
Yeah, going, like I mentioned before, going through that divorce and everything, sometimes financially it's devastating. So emotionally, dealing with the kids and who gets the kids. And then, like we said, the financial piece it's really mind-boggling. And some of the gentlemen that I have had the opportunity to speak to really don't want to jeopardize taking a chance again.
Right. Right.
Right? So I think that a lot of them need to just heal because
Yeah.
I too felt the exact same way. I didn't want to talk to a woman. I didn't want to look at a woman. I didn't want to touch a woman.
Yeah.
But eventually, after going to get the clinical the clinical
Mhm.
help that I needed and taking some time off, I came back into that space. And I'm
Mhm.
glad I did
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
met Dr. Lisa, right? I am glad I did.
Oh, so I think, yeah, all of that creates this fear around commitment. And I think that's what it boils down to, this silent crisis or where the good men at. A lot of times they are in hiding, for lack of a better word, because of the fear of commitment.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and sometimes, women may misinterpret that as a lack of interest or a lack of commitment, when men aren't sort of pursuing them or may not be following through. I think a lot of it is this, again, just the fear of commitment.
Not at all. I mean, what sometimes these gentlemen are bruised and they're just afraid to love.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned, I think I mentioned briefly, I was talking to a gentleman and I was getting all of these cues that he was abused, not abused, but bruised and just had a sour taste in his mouth after having been divorced, but still was yearning for that female companionship, relationship, marriage, or whatever it looks like. And so I really had to listen to him, talk to him, and kind of coach him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
again, a lot of them are afraid to love. They're afraid of making the wrong decision again, just like the women are.
Yeah.
So sometimes, ladies, we might have to, wrap that pocketbook around our shoulder and say, "Hey, how's it going today, sir? You look really nice. Would you like to go out to dinner?" And it's okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. So I think that's, definitely important for us to make that distinction that, a lot of times it's not lack of interest or lack of commitment. Sometimes it's just the fear factor, right? Of where they may be in terms of a recent breakup or where they may be in terms of their life at the time.
yeah, that whole healing process.
Yeah. So another thing that we hear women talk about is that men over 50 seem to want casual relationships instead of serious ones.
Fringe benefits with no commitment?
Fringe benefits with no commitment. Exactly, exactly.
Well, we talked about the weeding out process. So we just in those situations, you just have to adhere to the weeding out process. But there is some truth to that. After a certain age, a lot of men start valuing peace and simplicity. And
Mm,
again, I think it's just a shock factor, the devastation factor of having gone through a marriage where the kids were separated, or you have to pay alimony or child support or leave the house. So you are not feeling like real warm and fuzzy about getting into another relationship
mm.
unless you just happen to meet a special someone, right? So, it's a healing process. And a
Yeah.
lot of times when these gentlemen say they're not interested in that, they just need to be introduced to a complete and total woman
Mhm,
who just
mhm,
graciously walked them down the cobblestone road of friendship and
mhm.
just tactfully introduced them to something that they've never experienced before. Their mind, believe me, their mind will change, right?
Yeah, so maybe they also just feel like, casual relationships are easier. You don't have to put a
Yeah.
lot of work into it.
No
No, right?
commitment,
No
get your
commitment.
fringe benefits, go
Yeah,
home,
yeah.
that sort
Less
of thing.
likely to be hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like a whole little cautious type thing.
yeah, yeah. So instead of marriage or living together, some men prefer companionship, without the pressure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you give me companionship without the pressure of getting married? Huh? You did tell me when we met something about
Oh,
a life
I
partner.
know, I know, and you keep bringing it up, but okay.
So that was kind of the same
That was
thing,
kind
right?
of well, it wasn't casual, though. I think life partner is not a casual relationship, it's a commitment,
Okay.
but it wasn't, marriage. Yeah, so
Mm, mm.
yeah, so I think there's stages.
Mm,
There's
okay.
stages of commitment, and you just have to be in agreement with your partner about what that looks like.
Okay, that was a good cleanup, babe. I
Mhm.
appreciate it. Good cleanup. You look focused. You look serious all up in here. Yeah. All 38,000 of those teeth is showing. Y'all see that?
Oh my god. This is what I put up with. Oh goodness. Okay. Can we continue the
Yes, go
conversation?
right ahead. Go right ahead.
So like I said, some men sometimes, prefer companionship without the pressure. And I think again, it might be okay if that's okay with the woman who you are in this relationship with.
Exactly.
If that's what you both want, then no pressure.
Exactly. If they're
That's
on the
fine.
same
They're on the
page,
same
because
page.
some women, let's face it, some women just, they want companionship as well. So as
Yeah.
long as you guys have discussed that, you understand exactly and clearly what's going on, and you're okay with that, then
Yeah.
if it worked for you guys, then I
Then it
guess that's
works.
fine,
Right.
right?
Right. Exactly.
She's not going for it though. So they may want someone to travel with, go to dinner with, AKA keep them company, share experiences with, but they're not rushing into blending lives again.
Mhm.
Maybe
Mhm.
they were married for 10, 15, 20, 30 plus years and they just kind of want to enjoy themselves in this whole single realm
Yeah.
with fringe benefits.
Yeah.
But they're just not right quite.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Everybody has to work back into,
Yeah.
a healed mind or spirit or whatever,
Yeah.
so there's no rushing.
Yeah. And again, sometimes, women can definitely interpret that as a man not wanting commitment. But
Hmm.
again, you have to just be clear upfront about what it is, and just don't set any expectations beyond that if that's what it is.
Don't pretend to want more than what you're prepared to give that person just
Mhm.
so you can get to the fringe benefit,
Yeah.
right? So, but often it's not about avoiding commitment, right? It's about protecting the life they rebuilt, right?
Yeah.
Been on your job 10, 15, 20, 30 years and you've built this magnificent lifestyle. It took a bump. It went over a little speed bump when you got divorced, separated, or whatever, widowed. And then, hey,
Yeah.
you just want to stay in that bubble. You don't want to jeopardize that bubble.
Yeah. And I just thought of something. I mean, I think that really is a perspective many
Hmm.
women may not have considered.
Okay.
And I think it's something that, may have to come up at some point in conversation, or you may want to consider, if you don't want that commitment of a marriage, what can that relationship look like for the two of you?
What?
Right? It could still be committed. You could still be
Okay.
committed.
Question. Let's just speak to the audience. How would you bring that up, babe?
I think, I don't know if I bring it up on the first date, but you certainly at some point want to have a conversation about what someone wants in a relationship. I think that's a open question, that someone should be able to answer. What are you looking for? Are you
Exactly.
looking for casual relationship? Are you looking for a long-term commitment? And what does that mean? Does that mean again, something to the effect of a life partner, or does that look like marriage? So
Right.
that you're clear
Hmm.
about where it could possibly go.
I don't think you can get any clearer than that. Hmm.
Yes. So, one thing that we've seen through our conversations, I think, with both men and women is that men and women often misinterpret sort of what we were just talking about,
Okay.
each other's intentions,
Hmm.
right? So, for example, so women may think that men are avoiding them or uninterested, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes men feel like they can't approach women anymore.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So just step on out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So that's interesting. Many women tell us that they wish men obviously, would approach them more.
Hmm.
So sometimes there's this, strange kind of dynamic that starts to happen.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Did that happen at the mixer?
Um, I don't know that it happened at the mixer, but I think that it was the first one. I think people were genuinely, trying to get comfortable,
Hmm.
was trying to feel it out.
Hmm.
For some people, it might have been their first kind of event like that,
Okay.
in a while.
Hmm.
So I think it was hard to kind of tell if that was going on there. But I think women are sometimes, in other situations, right,
Hmm.
waiting to be approached. And sometimes men are waiting for signals that it's okay to kind of just, walk over and say hi.
Yeah, yeah. Send me a smoke signal. I want to be clear, right? So, you know, you have the strange dynamic where women are excuse me, waiting to be approached. Men are waiting for signals that it's okay, or some sort of welcoming signal. So everyone is kind of, you know, in this you go first type deal. And
Right.
I think that's kind of like the problem there. I remember Lisa, you telling me, listen, at one point while we were kind of dating, I don't know what we are, who we are, or what exactly we're doing here. That
Mhm.
was a smoke signal. That was an SOS. Help me understand what your true, unequivocal intentions are. And I immediately said, just so it could be clarified, that I see you far more than just a friend. So I need you to tell everybody in close proximity to you that you are off the market.
Oh my
Okay, I'm
god.
not going to dwell on it, baby. I just wanted to be understood. So let's keep it moving here, okay?
Yeah, I think at some point, you have to kinda ask the question. If it's not clear, again, you have to be really clear
She
about what
asked.
the intentions are. So, that's why I think, are creating these events, right? We want to have spaces where it's easier for people to meet, have real
Definitely.
conversations. You're not sitting in the corner waiting for this one or that one. We create an environment where, we actually give some talking points, some talking
Yes,
conversations,
that
some
was
things to
good.
talk about so that people don't feel odd, and weird, like they have to
Yes.
make a first move. It just becomes this organic conversation that
I
develops.
loved it. So we will provide the venue, the environment. You men, women just need to show up. Okay. Just
Absolutely.
show up, come on and support the event. And then we'll put you in close proximity to other qualified single women and single men.
Mhm,
And the
mhm.
rest is
The
history,
rest
right?
is history. Yeah. So, babe, let's talk about something important. What do you think that most men over 40 or 50 actually want in a relationship?
What do they actually want?
What do they actually want?
Wow, we don't often get asked that, do we, gentlemen? But while we're at it, let me go ahead and respond. A few things: peace, respect, friendship, attraction, and someone who genuinely enjoys just being with us. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
mm,
You know, I like when I get off work and I come home and I know that I'm going to get peace, tranquility. I'm not going to get bombarded with a whole bunch of things. Just give me 30 to 40 minutes. And for the most part, you do that, you
mhm,
know?
mhm,
And I love that. So at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. That is what we're
mhm,
looking for. We're
mhm.
looking for a grown woman, not somebody
Okay,
to control, manipulate us, whatever. Just a
okay.
grown woman.
So
Peace.
no constant conflict or pressure.
Oh,
Mhm.
no,
Sounds very simple.
we get that at work. So we're fighting for our lives 90% of the time we're at work. We don't want to come home to another boxing match. You need to be our peace,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And
And
I
I
need to
think
be yours.
exactly, I was gonna say, I think it's
Right.
reciprocal. We need to be each other's piece. So, definitely,
Exactly.
because if you can't get it from your partner, significant other, who can you get it from?
Exactly. The other day you came home from work and I looked at you kind of like, wow. I said, she needs a big, fat, juicy hug. Here goes a hug, baby. Right?
Yeah, that was a tough day. I had a tough day today.
Yes. So,
Oh gosh. So as you mentioned, a lot of men are looking just for someone to bring that peace into their life, happiness,
mhm,
reduce the stress, and just someone who genuinely wants to be with them, right?
exactly.
And obviously you want your values to be aligned and all those things that we talked about as well.
Hmm.
But I think also that, women probably want the same thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure they want.
Yeah. So, which makes you realize that, men and women aren't that actually that far apart
No.
in terms of the things that they
Mm-mm.
want, right?
Yeah. If you pinch them, they'll squeal.
Right, right.
If you look at them too long, they'll look away. I mean, everybody's a human being. Whether you're a woman or a man, we can find ourselves, like not in relationships, divorced, widowed, whatever, and we may yearn for companionship. We don't know how to go about it sometimes. Again, that's why we're doing these mixers to put you
Mhm.
in that space to help.
Yeah.
with that whole process,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely. Definitely. So this conversation is really important because, dating after 40 or 50 isn't just about finding someone attractive. It's about understanding where people are coming from,
Exactly.
so that you can spend your time developing a relationship that really matters and not spending your time, with someone who may not be your person,
A
right?
meaningful relationship.
Exactly.
Many men and women are carrying life experiences, divorce, loss, rebuilding, and that shapes how they approach relationships, right?
Mhm. Yep, exactly. So the more that we understand each other, the more we understand each other's intentions, the easier it becomes to create those meaningful relationships and connections. So that's why we had this conversation, today about the men's perspective because we want women to know just as much about men as men, know about women.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's exactly why we started creating spaces for people to meet in a different way.
absolutely.
We have some other things in mind. Lisa and I, we've been scratching our brains to bring you guys in a nice, safe space to be able
Mhm.
to commingle.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
again, continue to follow us,
Definitely. And a
right?
mixture of other like events, programs, and things like that. So definitely continue to follow us. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you've enjoyed this conversation, make sure that you again follow our Saying Yes Again podcast on all podcast platforms. That's Apple, Spotify, iHeart. Also,
Yes.
we have a
Yes.
YouTube channel, so you can follow the podcast there as well, so that you don't miss any upcoming episodes.
And please subscribe. And also, if you're someone who's tired of dating or tired of the dating apps and ready to meet great people in a more natural environment, continue to follow us, okay?
Yes, because we do host these mature single mixers designed for people over 40 who want real connection. And our next one will be coming up soon. So you want to follow us for that.
Yes, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Follow us and join our community so you'll receive first notices when the next mixer is announced,
Yeah.
right? Again, saying yes again.com and also saying yes again community.
Yes, yes. And if you go to sayingYesAgain.com, you can sign up there for our email list where you can be notified, be the first to be notified of upcoming events that we're having.
Exactly. Sometimes it starts with simply being in the right room, the right space,
Yes,
with the perfect energy.
exactly. So until next time, until we also create that space for you, remember to keep saying yes again to create new beginnings.
Yes. Have a good evening.
Take care.